What up, fantasy people? Trav is here from True North Fantasy Football, coming at you from Dirty Laundry Studios. I got a really fun episode. I got our boys from the Dynasty Rewind in the show tonight, and it's going to be a banger. Without further ado, I'm actually just going to get right into you fellas. We're going to start directly to what is my right now, but I think the viewers left. We got our man Phil Simmons, aka Charles Porkley, aka the Baron of Bacon. That is at FF Porkman on Twitter. Porkman, how you doing, brother? It's been a long time coming. I'm happy to have you on, my man.
I know I've been waiting forever to get on with you guys. I love you Canadian guys and your poutine and all that crap.
We were talking a little bit about gravy beforehand, and Porkman is all about that, I guess. So happy to have you on, Phil. And we're gonna go down here. We're gonna go to our buddy who I just recently found out, Chev, you are in the West now. You're living out west in Arizona, I believe, and that's our buddy Chevin Nooney. You can find him on Twitter at ChevBoyRD. What's popping, Chev? How's that weather out there? Probably hot, eh?
Oh man, it's like 110 out here still sweating my balls off, but it's going great. Definitely glad to be on. Want to give a shout out to my boy Woods Clothing. Might have some stuff coming out soon, so give them a shout out. Nice to be with you guys.
I love that. That's awesome. All right, and to the host with the most from the Dynasty Rewind, that would be my United Bestie of America, the Michael Bauer. You can find him on Twitter at the mbauer85. Mike, how you doing, my man?
I'm great, Trev. Great to be here. Happy to be here north of the border. Trying to get my wife to move up there so we can pod together more often, but she says we're not allowed to relocate to a new country due to podcasting. So it's going to have to wait. Sorry, guys.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day, buddy. I wanted to ask you real quick, Mike, how does it feel to not be hosting tonight? You get to just sit in the chair and talk tonight.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
It's great because I was saying beforehand, when the show's over, I'm just going to go to bed and you have to do all the work. Absolutely. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah. Hey, I'm happy to do it, buddy. I'm happy to do it. And that goes both ways because when I was on your show, it was the same for me, buddy. So I like it. That was
fun. We want to have you guys back on again real soon. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That was a blast. It's your guys' show. You guys are a staple of my Friday nights while I'm cooking dinner for the family out here on the West Coast. Awesome. I always pop the Dyno Rewind on, and my wife's even starting to get a little familiar with you guys in your show. So it's nice, man. You guys are part of the family is basically what I'm saying.
So what we're going to need you to do then is we need you guys to be in a league together and play against each other.
Okay.
So you can test your knowledge out, see if she's learning anything.
That's not going to happen, buddy.
Not going to happen?
It's not her bag. Let's just say that. Fantasy football is not her bag. She'll leave that to me.
I'll tell you what, you get her in the league and the Dynasty Rewind boys will coach her up. She could DM any one of us, and we'll give her starts and sits. How's that sound?
I like that a lot. I'm gonna float that out there. She actually said she might pop into the live stream tonight, so you never know. But she'll probably just say something funny on there to try and get me to post it. So, and then without further ado, of course, we cannot forget True North's own Will Harris, better known as Big Willie Style. Will, what's going on, buddy? It's been a minute since you've been on the pod, and you're back, baby.
Yeah. Absolutely. So there's been a brief hiatus. It's great to kind of get back into it with the Dynasty Rewind guys. That's for sure. Pretty excited. I've just been in the midst of a month-long move, boys. So I'm coming at you live from my in-laws. I guess this is the cold room. So bear with me, but I'm excited to be back podding with y'all. I think it's going to be an epic show as it always is. And I'm rocking. For the guys down in Philly, I'm rocking my Phillies hat. I picked it up while I was up in Philadelphia, so wanted to throw it on for the boys.
Little JT Remuto.
Ferda. No, that's awesome. Thanks for joining, Will, and we're happy you could make it work, even though your living situation is a little bit uprooted right now. So, in that cold room, we may have a cameo by some non-perishable goods, maybe some bottles of wine. You never know.
Some bags of rice for sure.
Beauty.
Lots of bags of rice. Yeah.
All right, fellas. So before we get into it, I just want to mention True North Fantasy Football. You can find us on Twitter at True North FFB. The site, if you want to check out our articles, our rankings, is truenorthffb.com. And we are coming at you here, obviously in pod format on all the major platforms, but we're also live streaming, and it will upload to our YouTube channel on that's the TNFF network on YouTube. So that's kind of where you can find all of our stuff, and we really appreciate any of our loyal fans who check that stuff out. Will, you and I are just going to get a couple little housekeeping items out of the way here. I just want to talk about our listener league. So we do have a listener league we're running. With the submissions are coming in a little bit faster now. We really appreciate the buzz that all the listeners have kind of put around that for us, really. So yeah, if you want to join the listener league, hit the DMs, check out the site, and shoot us an email, and just tell us why you have the chops to take down the team from True North, and you could get a spot in that listener league to play against all of us. And I know in our group chat we're super excited about that, to see some of the responses that we're getting, and so that's pretty fun. And actually, Will, this is where I'm going to throw to you, just on kind of sticking with the league note. I want you to talk a little bit about the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where the champions come to play up here in the Great White North, and it's a league that Trav and True North has been fully supporting since the get-go. We're only about 2 months old, but it seems like we've been at it a lot longer, that's for sure. So we've got some exciting sponsorship news coming really shortly that I'm excited to share. So we'll have a title sponsor to go along with True North, as well as the Breakout Finder and Viridian Global. So we're going to have a title sponsor, some really cool prizes coming at you, and with that sponsorship comes a pretty kick-ass trophy as well from the folks at Trophy Smack. So we're really excited. We've opened up to a third conference. It's just been tremendous, the amount of support that we're getting, and quite quietly we filled up that third 16 team division pretty quickly, and before the start of the season we might even see a fourth. So if you're interested, you want to play against the best in Canada and be crowned the Canadian Best Ball champion, then come and join us. Some of literally the best in Canada guys that I've looked up to for a long time, that I respect, and everything is for charity. So it's a little bit different from your average, from a best ball where, you're going to take home some kind of pot. Well, each player inside the league, each champion is playing for a charity. So at the end of the season, when you get to hoist that awesome trophy from Trophy Smack, your winnings are going to go to your charity of choice, and the rest of the entry fees are going to mental health research from KMH. So it's a really great cause, and it's just been tremendous, the outreach and support that we've got from the community, and would love to get it up to 4 conferences if we can. I mean, we're getting up close to the season. Didn't think it was going to be this popular, but if you're interested, give us a follow. It's really simple, at CNBBCL, and shoot me a DM at me. More than happy to talk a little bit about it. And thanks to everybody for being so supportive. Love what we're doing, and really looking forward to some big news hitting soon. And it's gonna be really exciting. I think actually that we're gonna have some of that prepped up with the Dynasty Rewind boys real shortly. Talk some tight end sleepers and share some of that really exciting news from the league.
Beautiful, dude. Yeah, I love that, Will. I can't say enough about how much work you've put in on that, and how awesome the concept of supporting the charities are. And, I really believe in it. And I've already done my draft in my conference, and it was a really good draft. And Will's just been getting more and more people. He's putting work in behind the scenes on getting the buzz built. So that will be the ultimate test in Canadian fantasy football, is the CMBBCL. So make sure you hit the DMs or send an email to get an entrant in there for sure. Fellas, we're gonna get to it now. We got all the housekeeping out of the way. We are excited to get into this episode, and just to give a little bit of an idea as to what we are talking about, we're going to start with some Dynasty Buy Nows. So guys that any of the viewers or anybody who's following our work can go and pick up now and get them at maybe their best possible price. And then we're going to talk about some of these rookie situations from around the league. I think getting down to crunch time, the people want to know really like what can they expect from these rookies this year. There's been a lot of talk. So we're going to break some of that stuff down for you, and we're super excited to do that with the Rewind crew. So for the Dynasty Buy Now piece, what we kind of did is each of us brought a guy who we want to buy now in Dynasty for the future. And of course, with the Dynasty Rewind boys, we had to stick to that Dynasty format. So I think, Phil, we're going to start with you, my man. I want to know, who is your Dynasty Buy Now and why?
Well, for everybody who may know me, obviously, it's got to be Van Jefferson for me.
I thought it was Antonio Gibson. Sorry to
all
cut
the
in,
talk.
Porkman, but just had to go there.
You always got to throw that in there. You know, I'm like,
Antonio Gibson will forever be on our show. Every single episode.
He just went in the 7th round of a redraft league that I'm in.
Yeah, he's going super duper high. It's nuts.
Sorry, Porkman.
But yeah, Van Jefferson.
Sorry,
yeah. You say sorry to me like 4 times an episode. That's fine.
Hey, Mike, why don't you stop dogging Porkman and let him tear it up here, buddy?
Sorry.
No, that's all good.
How about her, Phil?
No, but yeah, Van Jefferson, he's been getting a lot of buzz in camp these past couple of days. So I mean, showing that he can kill the whole second team is a very, very good sign. And it got to a point where he has to go against Jalen. They gave him the time to go against Jalen Ramsey. That's freaking huge. So basically for Dynasty, in my opinion, the Rams are in cap hell right now. So I'm not really sure what the heck they're going to do. But in the case of this year, in the case for a redraft, if Robert Woods or Kupp gets hurt, I believe he's going to slot right in ahead of Josh Reynolds, Mike. So I would take Van Jefferson. I would take Van Jefferson in case one of them guys were to get hurt in the offseason or during the season. And for next year, Cooper Kupp is going to ask for a ton of money, and Robert Woods might not be back either. So they got to pick between those two. So if Van Jefferson can slot right into that number 2 or number 3 role, wherever they want him to be, I feel as though he can fit right into that role for next year and kill it.
That's a good call, man. That's an offense where we've seen a ton of 3 wide receiver sets in the past. A lot of people are talking about them potentially shifting to more 2 tight end sets, but I'm not necessarily on board with that. They're going to need a 3rd wide receiver, and that person's going to produce. Like, I don't think you're expecting 3 1,000-yard seasons, but for the price that you get, Van, I really, really like that. So, boys, I know you guys have talked a lot about Van on your show. So, Chev, what's your take on Van? Do you think he is somebody that you'd buy now, or are you going to pivot elsewhere?
Yeah, so me and Pork, man, we have a bet where Justin Jefferson versus Van Jefferson, who's the real Jefferson. But even though we go on this debate, I still do like Van Jefferson. I mean, listening to the Pork every week, hyping him up, and just hearing the what's going on in camp. I mean, I really want him on my team. I want him to be somebody that is going to sit on my bench this year, but next year it could reap the benefits with Cooper Kupp wanting that big contract. And I mean, Jared Goff's not a bad quarterback. He can sling that football down the field, and you got McVay there putting Van Jefferson in good spots. I like that, man. I think Van could produce, maybe not 100% this year, but next year, watch out for that guy.
And big ups to D Brown, he's actually in the chat right now because he probably knew I was going to talk about Van today. He was actually one of the first people that were telling me about Van Jefferson. So I had to go look deeper and deeper into him, and I fell definitely in love with that guy.
Yeah, dude, D Brown's a very, very good friend of True North. He's been on the pod a couple times. So D, we love you, buddy. Big Willie style, how do you feel about Van Jefferson? Is that something you're chasing?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say chasing, but he's certainly probably the more interesting Ram out there. And, Porkman's talked to me a little bit about him and definitely got me more excited about it. But, I look at that. I look at all this offseason hype around Kupp and Woods, and I'm just a full-on kind of I'm going to take a hard pass on most things Rams. But Van Jefferson makes sense to me. Where he's going ADP-wise, hey, I love it. It makes total sense. Where those other guys are going, where Kupp and Woods are going, it just doesn't make sense. For them to pay off at ADP, they're going to have a pretty epic season to be able to pay off on that kind of 4th, 5th round ADP that they're going at right now. Van Jefferson, again, I mean, we know that the Reynolds breakout is never going to happen. We've talked about it for 2-3 years. So obviously bringing Van into the situation makes a lot of sense. And where he's going in drafts, I mean, he's an afterthought, right? So if you can get somebody in that system, with McVay and Goff tossing the ball, I mean, it might not be the sexiest, but we're not here for sexy. We're here to win dynasty championships, right? So I'm in on Van. I like the price. I like the talent profile. I mean, the news out of camp is great. I guess to Trav's point, the 2 tight end sets. That is a real thing, right? We saw what they did at the end of the season last year. So how much does Van see see on the field in year one. I think that that's something to consider as well. So we might not actually see the lowest price that we can on Van so far. So I think it's something to keep in mind. They were super successful with 2 tight ends on the field. They've got 2 of them. They've got Higbee, they've got Everett. I'm a big Everett guy, so it's going to be interesting how it shakes out because they were super successful with it, but it was also a very weak schedule to end the end of the season. So I'm in on Van. And certainly one of the only him and Akers and Everett are kind of the interesting pieces to me in Los Angeles.
I dig that. That's kind of, I think that would probably be considered a little bit outside of the box as far as most people's Rams targets. Like myself, I'm a huge Cooper Kupp fan. That's one of my guys this year. Yeah, stop making that face, Willie. Just a big Cooper Kupp guy, just his game and his production. And I definitely believe Goff can have that bounce back year. Hey, Mike, why don't you give us a parting shot on Van Jefferson and maybe just roll right into your dynasty buy now, my man?
Sure. I don't want people to think that I don't like Van Jefferson. I just pick on Porkman because how many times can you hear that he is the best route runner in the class? Well, I guess as many times we can tell him about Antonio Gibson.
Because I'm going to
so.
continue to say it. Yeah. I mean, as many times you say Antonio Gibson, oh my God, and he's old.
It's because he tried to fight you on Twitter. But so we just did my home league rookie draft. Van Jefferson went at the 4-1, which I thought is tremendous value. It's a 10-team non-super flex, 1 quarterback, all that good stuff. So great value. My brother-in-law, Vinny, actually took him there. Only 3 quarterbacks went ahead of him, by the way. I do like Van Jefferson. You know, there is a good possibility that Josh Reynolds' breakout does not happen. There's always that possibility that it does happen. That being said, if you want to talk about a super deep dynasty target, sorry to give away a little bit here, Will. Not this offseason, next offseason, go ahead and get Bryson Hopkins.
Ooh.
It's going to be, prime for probably a 3rd-year breakout maybe. Gerald Everett might not be there. Tyler Higbee might be ineffective. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
He's actually not my guy, just throwing that out there. My guy is Paris Campbell. A lot of good things coming out of camp about Paris Campbell, a lot of from the coach and from Phillip Rivers here. So Coach Reich was quoted as saying, he looks strong, fast, smart, explosive, good hands, understands the offense, and he's consistent. And Phillip Rivers was quoted as saying, explosive, strong hands, sky's the limit for him. He's only 23. He did battle a ton of injuries last year, sports hernia, broken hand, fractured foot, and a hamstring injury. But, Porkman, you can attest to this. He went to Ohio State. So you saw Paris Campbell a lot. I loved his tape. I love the way he played. Oh, Trav, I forgot you're an Ohio State fan too. Love his tape. Love the way he played the game. I think he's going to be fantastic in that offense. That being said, I'm not super sold on Indianapolis this year. I think they could have went any other way with quarterback. It's just Phillip Rivers is older than me. So, I don't know how much he has left.
That's old.
That's very, very old. But I do love what that offense is doing. I mean, they got Paris Campbell. T.Y. Hilton is still there. A lot of people are fading him. You could scoop him up super cheap right now. Drafted Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor. That offensive line, they have one of the best linebackers in the NFL in Darius Leonard. So I think in a couple of years, this team could be nasty. And Paris Campbell could definitely be in the middle of that. And he's not just a slot guy either. I think he could play everywhere. And I did read a couple other articles. I didn't write it down here, but Frank Reich says he's planning on moving him all over the place. So I really hope he can stay healthy. If you're going to buy him, you have to do it now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get cheaper. He's definitely going to skyrocket in price.
Totally, man. I like that because he had no production last year. He had 3 separate injuries. So he had an abdominal strain that missed 3 games, a hand fracture that missed 4, and then a foot fracture that missed 3 more to end his season as a rookie. So I think just like you said, he's not going to get any lower because as soon as he produces anything on the field, his price is immediately going to go up. And I really like that buy because he looks fast in camp. That's just, another weapon for Phillip Rivers and potentially the future quarterback for this team, whether that be Jacob Eason or somebody else. I think I really like the idea of acquiring Paris Campbell because he's pretty cheap right now. Porkman, where do you sit, dude? Paris Campbell's got a lot of wheels, got a questionable quarterback situation, but I mean, you can't deny it as a Buckeye fan, right?
You definitely can. I mean, you definitely can't deny that speed. I know Trav. It's just us watching Buckeye games. He catches the ball and he would just from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, and the next thing you know, he's gone. The only thing that I don't like about Ohio State does to our wide receivers is it doesn't really show our full route tree. They kind of just show a whole bunch of screens and stuff. So I mean, my only thing is I would like to see a little bit more of his route running, but
Mhm.
getting him as a buy low right now is definitely perfect. You already know Phillip Rivers, his arm is made out of spaghetti, overcooked spaghetti noodles. So if you he just throws the ball short. If you can get him in space and get him out there, because he's mostly going, in my opinion, he's going to be throwing to mostly Jack Doyle and Paris Campbell at this point into his running backs, because I don't think he's going to be able to get the ball downfield. So if you can get that guy in space on the screen with that bomb offensive line, he can definitely kill it.
Yeah,
dude,
Michael
4.31 4.31 speed for Paris Campbell. That's
For sure.
dirty. Get in there, Chev.
Yeah, Michael Pittman too. He's a big blocker. He's a big guy that can block too. I mean, physical wide receiver. I mean, there's sometimes just watching his film where, man, that could have been offensive pass interference on some of these catches. So, I mean, if you get him blocking for Paris Campbell too, things could get saucy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I like that.
boys, I gotta stop the Phil Rivers slander. I mean, they brought him in for a reason, right? And they put him around weapons that will work for him. We've seen him in Los Angeles and San Diego before that, put up respectable seasons. And you look at what he's going to be playing behind, and could you say that he might be playing behind the best line that he's ever played in?
Fair
Last
point.
year was the worst.
I agree. For
Yeah.
sure.
And
No, I'm
he
not
was-
slandering. I wasn't slandering Rivers. I just
Oh,
feel
Noodle arm?
he's gonna
Mike was.
he can't get the
I
ball
was.
down the field, but he's accurate on all
Totally.
those mid range and short range throws. But his
He's
down the
got
field
that,
throws aren't the same. It's going to be
got
like
that-
Peyton Manning in his last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
which
good.
is-
Without the interception. Yeah, which isn't, he was serviceable, but he'll be able to figure it out.
Mhm.
And you look at the yak potential of the guys that they have in Indy, and it lines up pretty nice.
Yeah.
I think Paris is a big part of that. You guys have already alluded to it. It's the health. Three separate injuries in his rookie season. That's super, super tough to contend with for anybody, right? Let alone a rookie that's trying to make it in the league. And when we were looking at rookie drafts when he was coming out, I mean, you look at where he was being drafted, and now all of a sudden he's going in the 13th, 14th round. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
And we've seen this with these sophomore receivers that, hey, if they don't perform in their rookie year, the buy time is in their sophomore season. So absolutely, Paris Campbell is a slam buy right now. And at his ADP, I mean, what are you going to lose? The upside there in that offense and playing with Phillip Rivers and with Pittman and Hilton there, I think it's going to be a pretty dynamic squad that a lot of people are sleeping on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that. It would seem that Phillip Rivers' T-Rex throwing motion would fit really well with Paris Campbell and those shorter targets. So, if Rivers can stay out there,
That
he
motion, it looks so
can
freaking
T-Rex
weird.
it to Paris Campbell for sure. So I like that pick of Paris Campbell. And Will, I like you having the old bolo tie wearing 15 kid having slingers back there, buddy. I love that.
I love it, man. I love it, dude. I'm all in on Old Man Rivers, man. It's
Nice.
where he's going in drafts. I mean, it just makes sense with the weapons that are around him. I mean, he doesn't have to throw down the field, right? Just get it to your backs and get it to somebody that has yak potential.
Our buddy Dave is dogging Phillip Rivers here too. So anybody watching the video, they can see that comment. That's our buddy Dave. So he had to get that chirp in there. We love you, Dave. All right, fellas, we're gonna keep this ball rolling. We're kind of flying here, eh? Chev, why don't you give us yours? You popped it in the show sheet, and I gotta say, I love this one. Might even be my favorite one of the bunch, including my own. Fire away, dude.
Yeah, so my favorite one I put on Mike's was Dingle McCringleberry or something like that before, and Mike changed it for whatever reason. Mike changed it. I don't know.
I did not put that on there.
Yeah, I thought I would slide that in.
We were messing with it.
And hope that would work for
Well,
you.
did you see all the nicknames I put on there for Porkman?
No, I didn't.
You
see that.
added stuff on there.
I added like
missed those,
5
man.
nicknames for him.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But the guy I'm going with, he could possibly bust out this year. He's got a bunch of wide receivers ahead of him that are injury prone, and it could slide him up faster than what we are projecting him to do. But my guy is T. Higgins. I love T. Higgins coming out of the draft. He kind of has like the same measurables as a Michael Thomas, and I kind of see them sort of as like a light Michael Thomas. He's not going to be as great as Michael Thomas, maybe, but I kind of see him as that kind of player. He's just a Mr. Reliable guy. You throw it to him, he can go up and get it. I just read the other day he had like a tip catch where he dove and caught it. So, I mean, he's a guy that wants to be on the field and he wants to go get the ball. And, I mean, he produced in college. He had 13 touchdowns the last 2 seasons. So, I mean, I really love what T. Higgins is doing. I mean, he gets a great quarterback in Joe Burrow that can just sling the ball and be precise with it. So I'm really excited for his future. I mean, if AJ Green or John Ross gets hurt, I mean, he might get slid into this year. So I really look forward to seeing what T. Higgins can do in that offense.
I love it, man. T. Higgins was, I believe, my wide receiver 3 coming into the NFL draft. So I'm really high on T. Higgins. He's going to be growing with Joe Burrow. I think for me, he might be a little bit different from Michael Thomas in the yak factor, because Michael Thomas is a monster there. But I mean, the red zone prowess that he can provide with such a catch radius, like T. Higgins is going to light it up. And I think, you know, he doesn't necessarily need the MT targets to be able to produce, right? Obviously, I'm not saying he's going to produce to MT levels with less targets or anything like that. But I think to produce where I see him as like a high-end wide receiver 2, potentially a late wide receiver 1 a little bit later in his career. I don't necessarily think he needs to get those 150 targets that these Nuke and Devontae Adams guys are getting. So I really like the pick of T. Higgins. Like you said though, Chev, like there's a lot of guys ahead of him on the depth chart. So Will, I'm curious to see where you sit as far as T. Higgins in the next couple years.
Yeah, great pick. It's funny, the Bengals, for the team that they've, you know, fielded for the last couple seasons, have been pretty atrocious. I mean, I'm happy about it because I'm a Steelers diehard, and it's always a layup when we play the Tigers. But it's interesting. I was doing an AFC North preview show and going through the wide receiver squads on the Gold Jacket Pod, another True North podcast. And it was funny, man. Like, we're going through all of the wide receivers in Cincy. You know, we talked T. Higgins, we talked John Ross, we talked AJ Green, we talked Auden Tate, and you know, it blew my mind that I actually forgot that Tyler Boyd played for that team, just because they're that. No, seriously though, they're that
deep. Yeah.
They might have the deepest wide receiver core in the NFL. How they use them and utilize them, I mean, that's up to the coaching staff, and we can't predict how they're going to be used. So that's why, to me, there's a bit of hesitation on T. Higgins. I don't think it's about the talent; it's about the depth there. And when is he going to see the field? And there's just a lot of bodies and good bodies in front of him there. And I think that, you know, is he going to be the heir apparent to AJ Green? I mean, it's quite possible. I think that if he performs in year 1, well, we know that AJ doesn't want to be there, period, right? Like his role is up for grabs, but you hear the hype right now that's coming out of camp. You know, Auden Tate's looking really good. We haven't even seen John Ross on the field this season. We saw what he did on the field last year when healthy, right? Like, he was putting up legitimate wide receiver 1, pretty dynamic, gangbusting weeks. And then the Tyler Boyd hype is super, super real, and we know that he's good. So T. Higgins, I mean, yeah, I like the talent, I like the prospect. The depth chart there is a bit scary, but we like to bet on talent, right? And if we believe in the talent, then we want to push our chips in on that, regardless of the situation. I mean, you know, I always talk about AJ Brown. Everybody loved the talent, but they're out on the landing spot. You know what? He's going to the Titans. That's not a pass first offense. That, you know, that team runs the ball. We're out on AJ Brown, and we were wrong there, right? So that was a good reminder to me to bet on talent as opposed to landing spot. And this might be a case. Is the buy window now, or is it actually halfway through the season when he's, you know, when John Ross is soaking up his snaps, Tyler Boyd's having a ball in season, Auden Tate is finding his way onto the field? Maybe that's then. I just look at, you know, T's always been a guy that I've wanted on my team, but it's like, okay, am I going T. Higgins or am I going Laviska Shenault? He's kind of in that range, and he's usually, by the time I'm ready to draft him, he's off the board. So I love the pick. I think it's going to be super interesting, and the Bengals offense, you know, fully functioning with Burrow again, man, it could be lights out.
Joe Burrow was like a 75+% deep ball passer last year, which obviously that offense was stupid. It's going to be a different story in the NFL, but just, you know, he's got some touch. He could throw the ball deep. He can get out of the pocket. And if T can get open, we know he can win those jump balls. So I love that. Porkman, where do you sit on T? I know you love Van Jefferson as one of your favorite rookie wideouts, but what about T?
I do like T. I believe I had him number 3 in my rankings too as well.
Guy.
Actually had him higher than Judy, if I'm not mistaken.
Ooh.
But T for me, I feel as though it was a glaring thing when they said he was working out with Joe Burrow in the offseason, and then the first pick in the second round, it was T. Higgins. So I feel they knew that's what they wanted. Just like what Will said as well, I feel as though he's the heir apparent to AJ Green. So once AJ Green is done this year, he's going to slot right in there and just take over, and he's going to ball out there. He got a whole bunch of weapons, so it's going to be he's going to get one-on-one coverage all day. So with them 50-50 balls, they're all his. He's going to just gobble those up.
70-30 balls more like, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right, baby.
They got those big old dick beaters.
Yeah, yeah. Gotta have them dick beaters when you're going up for them jump balls, you know. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
T's got him. T's got him for sure. For
Yeah, you go.
sure. I was wondering, like, I was gonna toss out in the group chat before this what the over under should be on dick beaters, and to be honest with you, Pork Man, this one smashed the over because I would have thought it would have been way under that for a dick beater. Yeah, hey, I like that you still brought it up and didn't
Yeah,
let
you
it
had
get
to slide that in there.
Absolutely, every
I
time.
almost forgot about it. I meant to say something about Van Jefferson and his beaters, but you know, I had to slide it in there.
yeah, can't miss an opportunity. That's right. That's right. So, Mike, where are you sitting on T?
Love T. Higgins. I was high on him in the pre-draft process. Perfect pairing, him in Cincinnati with Burrow. I love this pick by Chev. I mean, kind of zigging when we're zagging and going with a rookie. Well, no, because Porkman changed it. He had somebody else originally.
Dawson Knox.
And then he
I
changed
had
it.
Dawson Knox in there. I switched it up.
Knock around guy.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
my only notes on the Dawson Knox piece is why the hell did you pick Dawson Knox as your Dynasty Buy now? Oh, the Dynasty Buy now.
Yeah,
I don't mind Dawson Knox.
I gotta hear this. I gotta hear this, Pork Man. I gotta.
It was late. It was late
man.
when I was doing that. But
Were you
honestly, I do really like Dawson Knox.
I do too.
He has a ton of speed on that team, and when you have Stephon Diggs and John Brown, you know Josh Allen has issues throwing the ball deep, so he's going to have to find somebody underneath to throw the ball to as well. I think he's not going to break out this year, but just like you said with this topic this year, it almost like it will be next year.
He has no problem throwing the ball deep, Pork Man. I'm just gonna say that. It might be accuracy, but he throws the ball super deep.
But that's the problem. He
time.
throws it too deep, which is an interception because his balls is just like it's a line drive.
What about his balls?
Let's go to Manscaped.
Nice and clean.
Yeah, no, I can see that. I mean, he had a pretty good second half last year, Dawson Knox, and there's, that offense. A lot of people expect it to shift a little bit with with Stephon Diggs coming into the fold. So it's going to be an interesting watch, and you're always looking for those sleepers tight ends. And I know Big Willie style is about that. So yeah, you got to take shots at the bottom tier. Yeah, Big Willie pals all about that. That's right. I'm glad you guys get such a kick out of that because we love it. To us, it's not even an accent, so at least somebody enjoys it there. So Big Willie style, we're gonna kick to you, my man, because we are going to Mike said that Chev kind of zigged when everyone zagged. Well, I know who you chose on the show sheet, and we're gonna stay zigged on this one. So why don't you hit us with who your Dynasty Buy now is?
Yeah, absolutely. Pork Man, we'll pick up the Knox conversation a little later, I feel. But yeah, guys, I think that, this is a name that just rewind for a second. I think it's only fitting with the Dynasty Rewind boys here. But first off, I didn't know that I was jumping on an Ohio State podcast, by the way. I didn't know that. Maybe I would have zigged again, but this is a guy that we're all talking about. And I think that everybody in the Dynasty community kind of unanimously is super pumped about this prospect, about this running back, and that's J.K. Dobbins. I think that the only time that we're going to have an opportunity to get Dobbins on our Dynasty squad this season at his cost right now. I think that, a few things about Dobbins. His numbers at Ohio State were absolutely phenomenal. We're talking about a maybe a once in a lifetime type prospect athletically. He literally tore up the Spark Q camp when he was in high school. Like you looked at his numbers, there's no comparables to the numbers that he put up. And of course, because of injury, he wasn't able to test at the combine. So he's a little bit of a black box prospect, as Matt Kelly likes to call. So coming into the draft, there was that unknown. We didn't have those measurables, but we did have production. And not only do we have production, I know that I kind of played down landing spot with T. Higgins, but we're looking at J.K. Dobbins landing literally in the best possible situation in the NFL, landing with the Ravens, right? They're a run-first team. They ran the most running plays. It's so crazy. I was looking at this before. They during games in 2019, they ran 2 running plays a minute. A minute.
Oh God.
That's crazy, right? Like they are going to continue to run the ball. Lamar Jackson is opening up massive holes with his speed, making defenders miss. And that makes the job for a guy like Mark Ingram, who I love. Absolutely. I think that he's going to have a productive season this year and further drive down J.K. Dobbins' value. But the time now is to buy Dobbins. And after this season, let's look at a couple factors here. I look at Nick Chubb a couple years ago where, he was just waiting for his opportunity. And once he had that opportunity, he took that backfield by storm, and there was no looking back for Cleveland. I look at Dobbins very similarly. If he gets an opportunity, if Ingram goes down at any point, it's a J.K. Dobbins show, and he's going to run away with it. The Dobb Goblin is going to dominate once he's on the field. He's playing behind. I know they lost the end on that line, but the Ravens find a way to win. They've got very impressive coaching. They always coach up that O-line, and that running game is the strongest in the NFL, and I don't see that diminishing this year. And if J.K. Dobbins gets his chance, honestly, like if Ingram goes down in week 3, J.K. Dobbins slides in there. There is no getting him at his current cost right now, guys. Like it is a must buy right now. You've got to go out and get your chips all in on this guy because, again, once he has that breakout game, we know what's going to happen. We saw with Miles Sanders last year when he blew the doors open, given opportunity. I think that J.K. Dobbins is even at that next level. We could be looking at, the best running back out of this draft class. I love Jonathan Taylor too. I love CEH. I love Swift. I love all these guys, but I think J.K. Dobbins, his ADP too was driven down because he didn't test at the combine. So his reduced value was already baked in to his cost. So keep your eyes on him. Now's the time, and maybe it's not even now. Maybe it's actually after Ingram has some good weeks, because guys like Ingram, he doesn't test athletically like JK does. He never has, but he gets the job done. He's got it done in NOLA. He's getting the job done in Baltimore, and he's going to put up RB1 numbers when he's playing and healthy. So maybe it's not today that you go out and get Dobbins because the hype is real. And I think as we see training camp continue to drag on and J.K. Dobbins showing what he's made of, I think that, the hype will be there. So I think it's actually more kind of looking at, week 4 or 5, if Ingram's having solid weeks, saying, to a Dobbins owner, hey guys, like, he's not going anywhere this season. Maybe it's time to make a deal, especially to somebody that's a contender and is more in the win now. I actually had that situation to me happen just the other day. Someone pitched me Swift. I'm in a win now. I'm defending champion, and they pitched me Swift and a 4th for Dobbins. I had to say no, but I had to pause, right? Because I'm in a championship window. I know Dobbins is probably a year 2 type of breakout player, but I said I can't, even if it's Swift, I can't pass up the Dobb Goblin. So yeah, that's my guy, J.K. Dobbins. I think the sky's the limit for him given the opportunity. I just hope it's not a Justice Hill type situation, because I certainly
no.
Stop it, no.
It's not going to be that for
No.
sure. It's not going to. I was stoked, Will, when you had this on the show sheet, because that's my dynasty running back 13 right now. I think, after this season, the sky's the limit. And I think he could be a league winner for teams this year. Because like you said, Ingram's getting up there. If he gets hurt, J.K. Dobbins is going to smash. I mean, Gus Edwards had 20 plus red zone carries last year. with Ingram healthy for the year. So if Dobbins can slot into that, there's touchdown upside. And then for the future, I mean, 250 plus carries is easy for Dobbins. He had over 40% of Ohio State's team carries in his last 2 years, and he had over 50% of their rushing yards last season as the only running back ever to go for 2,000 for Ohio State. So I think Dobbins is one of my like, if it wasn't for Ingram, he might be my rookie running back one, to be completely honest with you. So that's where I sit for JK. But let's go around the horn here, Chev. Why don't you let us know what you feel about the Dobb Goblin?
Oh, yeah. So I love me some Dobbins. So in my home league, it's from Oklahoma. And I had CEH went first, the next 2 picks. So I took Jonathan Taylor. Everybody thinks I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb, big OU guy. Shocked the whole draft, went old Dobb Goblin on him. And the chat went crazy. So I'm definitely excited for Dobbins, man. He was a guy that was maybe even possibly somebody's running back 4 or running back 3. And now he's in one of the best situations. I mean, in college, when Dwayne Haskins was the quarterback, he might not have produced as well. But, I mean, then he went to Justin Fields, and then look how he produced in, like, those RPO situations. And he's going into the same kind of thing with Lamar Jackson. So, I mean, Will, you said it best. Sky is the limit for the Gob Doblin, or the Dob Goblin, whatever you call him.
Yeah, absolutely. Either way, it's good. That's all we care about. Porkman, where you sitting? Ohio State, baby.
Oh, man, he was my pre-draft RB1. I freaking absolutely love this man's tape. Him with Lamar Jackson is honestly, that's a cheat code. That's not even fair. That's not fair. It's not going to be fair for the rest of the league to be able to stop the both of them. His speed is outrageous, and he has great hands. That's the thing they don't really talk about. My only issue with J.K. Dobbins is not really fancy related. It's just him and his pass blocking.
Mm-hmm.
His pass blocking has to get a little bit better. But other than that, he's going to be outrageous.
And how about you, host with the most?
I love J.K. Dobbins. I had him. He was my pre-draft number 1 running back. I had a friend of mine in my home league. He's an RPO running back. True. But I think running back is one of the easier positions to transition to going from college to the NFL. Said, what about the year when Mike Weber ran crazy? Well, Mike Weber was a very good college running back. You could be a good college player and not be a good NFL player. We've seen it before. Mm-hmm. All of our favorite teams. I mean, look, Penn State had a lot of guys be great in college and not good in the pros, and Ohio State had Dwayne Haskins. So it can happen that it just doesn't necessarily translate.
You are triggering me today, Mike.
You got to stop. There's no more Dwayne Haskins talk because he's on our Dynasty owner team. So that's going to have to stop, Mike.
Okay. He's also our third quarterback. So I love J.K. Dobbins, and Baltimore is showing again that they just continuously draft for their team. They sold out on Lamar Jackson on the type of offense that they want him to run, and they surrounded him with all the weapons he needs to be successful. We could say in a couple years, there's a possibility that J.K. Dobbins is the highest scoring fantasy running back in the AFC North. It's possible, and that's not anything against Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon, or I still think the Steelers running back of the future is not on that roster currently. I would love.
Come on, James Conner. He's going to resign. Come on.
I love James Conner, but I think if he balls out for 1,400 yards, they're going to sign him. But past couple seasons,
1,400.
It's just a shame. So
that's a lot.
I'm just pulling your leg, Mike. He's not. There's no.
Is that what that was? You don't think they re-sign him at all? Not even. No, not even cheap. He's not going to want to re-sign cheap.
He'd have to have a shit year, in my opinion, for them to be able to get him for what they want to get him. Because, his upside is 1,400 plus yards for me. For sure, I think, because they like to give that role to one guy. They like to pass him a lot of targets, and then the rushing work is just really good because they got a great offensive line and good wide receivers that keep the defense honest. So I actually like for 2020 a little bit of James Conner, but the future's a little bit murky for sure.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, but I do love J.K. Dobbins, and like I said, he went to the perfect spot for him. So
good.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
It's gonna be
that's
exciting.
Beautiful.
And I think the other thing that gets me excited too is he is a good pass catcher, and I think that compared to Mark Ingram, who isn't a bad pass catcher, but J.K. Dobbins definitely has that as well. And we saw, I don't know if you boys have seen that amazing over the shoulder catch that he had in coverage.
Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like that's a wide receiver catch, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty impressive. That gets me pretty pumped up for the dog goblin too.
Fires me north, I'll tell you that.
I love it. Fire me north. That's right. Okay, fellas, we're going to polish it off with my guy. I'm going to talk. Actually, you know what, guys? This is a guy who I wanted to talk a little bit about on the show when I came on with you guys. But just the way the flow went, I had a couple extra guys lined up, and this ended up being one of the guys that I didn't get to. And somebody that you need to buy right now is Mecole Hardman. First with Mecole, I mean, the guy is an athlete. We saw it last year. He is an unbelievably quick runner, obviously, and like he got a lot of yards after the catch last year. And I mean, the first factor that you look at is Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid is a creative play caller, can use this type of player in any different facet of the game. And then Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. There's 477 plus million reasons to want Mecole Hardman. So I think with the short targets that he got in the yards after the catch, that was fantastic. He got tons of those and 11.4 yards after the catch per reception. The only reason he didn't qualify for best in the league is because he didn't hit that target threshold. And then along with those targets, I think he can actually be a deep passing option as well, which plays really well into Mahomes' game. He had 14 targets, 15 plus yards down the field last year, and he caught 6 of those for over 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I think that's extremely efficient on the minimal deep targets that he had. So as we move through the future, obviously Tyreek Hill is there and he is the mega deep threat, but I think he's more than that too. So I think with him and Mecole potentially on the outside, Kelsey, Clyde, this offense is just going to boom, and I want pieces. And as of August 20th, Mecole is going as the wide receiver 39 in Dynasty ADP, and I think that is just a crime. So I am picking up Mecole Hardman everywhere I can, and I think I'm going to reap those benefits. Maybe late 2020, but I'm not necessarily expecting 2020. 2021 is where it's going to get sick because Sammy Watkins and Demarcus Robinson came back just because the Chiefs would have them. They said, "Hey, you're a championship team. You want to give me a pay cut? I will take it." So they took it. They're warm bodies that are there. I like Demarcus Robinson. Sammy Watkins has burned me so many damn times. I'm just off of him. So I'll just take Mecole waiting in the wings, and if those guys go down like they can do, that's who I'm going to be slotting in my lineup. So why don't we move to Chev? Where are you sitting?
Yeah, I mean, they drafted this guy to possibly take Tyreek Hill's spot once that video came out of him and all the stuff that gone on. I know Michael probably hit that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there's nobody that's like Tyreek Hill. I think he's just an absolute beast that is going to be hard to come by. But Mecole Hardman, he has those burners. He's a guy that they trust. They drafted early. I mean, people were drafting him like in the high first round in rookie drafts when the draft happened. So, I mean, this guy is an absolute stud. He can go up and get the ball. I mean, he's not as polished at the moment from what I remember from college, but I mean, this is the guy. He's throwing Patrick Mahomes and speed. Whew. And throw him and Tyreek Hill next to each other. Oh God, bless the league. Goodness.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun. Porkman, how are you? Like, are the Chiefs an offense that you are diving into to just try and get pieces of, or are you kind of selecting the pieces that you want?
No, for sure. I kind of want every piece that could be definitely fancy relevant. But just why does Sammy Watkins have to come back? Like, just ride off into the sunset and just do your own freaking thing and go home and eat corn. I don't care what you eat. Just freaking go somewhere and have Mecole Hardman take over a number 2 role.
You won the ship. You're good.
Yeah, just what you won. You won your ring. Now just go home and freaking relax and write your crazy quotes on Twitter. But anyway, that's my little rant.
Yeah, he's into like UFOs and shit, right? Like UFOs.
Yeah, he's into some weird crap. Be weird at home. Don't be weird on the field. But I love his talent. And the crazy thing is, I love Sammy Watkins' talent. He just don't want to put it together.
No.
So I mean, just if you don't want to do that, just leave and have Mecole Hardman take over that number 2 role. But seeing that he is coming back this year, I am definitely going to. He's definitely next year. He's definitely a next year person to play. But this year, Sammy Watkins is going to be in the way. Demarcus Robinson, he's not in the way. He's just out there. But they also do have Travis Kelce as well. So
yeah,
next year for sure. But maybe the end of this year, Mecole Hardman might really pop.
I'm here for it, man. Mike, how are you feeling about Mecole?
I like Mecole Hardman. I was not as high on him as everybody else was, to be honest with you. I was a little baffled when they drafted him second round out of Georgia, right?
Yeah.
And then you remember, Chev, you alluded to this. Great point. Everybody went crazy when Tyreek Hill went crazy because they thought that Mecole Hardman was supposed to be his direct replacement. Tyreek Hill was going to get cut. Remember, we're all drafting this guy in the first round. Like, I'm pulling one over on the fantasy community because I'm so smart, and didn't really pan out. So now you're buying him cheaper than you could have then. I don't want all the pieces of the Chiefs offense. That being said, I want the right pieces. And to me, the right pieces are still Patrick Mahomes. It's still Tyreek Hill for some reason. And it's still Travis Kelce. I'm still going to fade Mecole Hardman a little bit. That's just me. I don't want Sammy Watkins. I don't want whoever else they throw out there at the second wide receiver spot. And Trav, you also alluded to Andy Reid as a creative play caller. He is now a creative. No. Hold on. This needs to be said.
You fired him up now. You fired him up now.
This is a can of worms.
Gloves are off, boys. Gloves are off.
He is now a creative play caller. He should have been a creative play caller ahead of time, but it was always just pass.
Well, how about you get a creative play caller with some better wide receivers? How about that, Mike? Do we have a Tyreek Hill?
No, we did. We had James Thrash and Todd Pinkston. What more do you need?
Freddie Mitchell.
Look, the fact of the matter is, in 2004, they had one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. They had Terrell Owens, and they didn't win a Super Bowl because you saw Super Bowl 39. It was terrible. They weren't prepared. Patriots were. So Andy Reid has now learned his lesson, but let's not.
They also cheated, Mike. But
don't let recency bias fool you. Andy Reid has not always been a genius his entire career. You can trust the guy wearing the gangrene to give you all the straight facts there. So you're welcome, everybody up north.
I feel like we touched a nerve there, fellas.
There's no nerve. I just let the truth be known. Everyone's like, Andy Reid's such a genius. He's not. Eric Bieniemy, I think Eric Bieniemy is partially to be held as being a genius there too. What he's done with the offense has been great. Everybody has to realize that the head coach doesn't always call the plays. Andy Reid probably doesn't. I don't know if he does or not. My buddy Nate from over at Fantasy and Frames might be able to allude to that a little bit better. He is a Chiefs fan, but it seems like no matter who they have at the offensive coordinator, Andy Reid installs the system. The offensive coordinator, he just keeps it rolling. So Eric Bieniemy should be a head coach now. I think we could all agree with that. Hopefully next year. Yeah, he should be. So hopefully next year.
With Matt Nagy, right?
I think there's a reason that all these guys go on to be head coaches, and that's due to Big Red's tutelage, man. I have a soft spot for Big Red, even though he did make his mistakes when he was in Philly. I still love him.
For sure.
He's fun.
My favorite thing though about Mike, so we started the podcast not too long after the Tyreek Hill stuff happened, and I swear Mike wanted to fight the next 5 months on our podcast. Every podcast we had, he invited Tyreek Hill to come to Washington Avenue to come fight him.
So his address and everything.
That was the funniest thing. I'm so glad he keep bringing that up.
He never showed up, so
yeah. That says something. He's probably shook, Mike. He's probably shook.
Yeah, I'm sure he actually cares about what I say. He doesn't. It's fun.
Nope.
So, boys, who won the race? By the way, I got so cryptic in the text between Tyreek and Hardman. Like, who actually did
it? Was it Tyreek?
Tyreek won by probably like a couple steps, and it was like Mecole started out ahead, I believe, and then Tyreek came up to him, and just at the end, Tyreek nosed him a little bit. So, Mecole's cash money is basically what that means.
Hey, did you guys see where I think it was Tyreek Hill, T.O., and somebody else they all raced? And T.O.'s like pushing 50, and he
held his own.
He was still good.
Yeah, that's those strides, man.
Like I got winded watching that, so you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. I'm winded sitting here doing a podcast, buddy. So it's
okay. more poutine, boys.
Yeah. Pack on the gravy, and that'll help with the stamina for sure. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna keep it rolling here. I'm just being conscious of time here. We do have another segment that I really want.
Hey, Trav.
Yeah, what's up, buddy?
I'm out on Hardman. Just Just to let you know.
Wow. Okay, so we're definitely going to move on then. We're definitely going to move on.
Oh, sorry, Trav. Before you go,
Yeah.
another what's this guy's name? Sean. He said he wanted us to mention Damian Harris too. As a guy for next year too.
The intern. You know what's funny, Sean, is you are on the same page as me, buddy, because I don't know if you guys noticed on the show sheet, but beside my Miko Hardman, I put an HM for honorable mention, and that was Damian Harris. And I hope that pans out simply for the fact that I'm going to have a bunch of titles if Damian Harris pans out this season, because I've been picking him up everywhere, and things are looking up, my man.
It's Harris time season. It's Harris time season.
Harris time. That a baby.
There is no time like Harris time, baby. And that's 2020. And that is 2020. Okay, so we're going to move on, guys. And before we get to the next segment, we're just going to pay a bill here. So really quick, I just want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, and that would be Expand the Box Score. So Expand the Box Score is the essential stats database for any fantasy player. We actually use their football bundle, which includes the NFL and college football stats, which are kind of hard to find in certain spots. So that's one thing that Expand the Box Score has that maybe not all these other sites have, is they have a bunch of data for the college football stuff that you can't find anywhere else. Along with that, they do have the NBA, they got Major League Baseball, they got college basketball, and they even have minor league baseball. So for those psychopaths who play Dynasty baseball, fantasy football, you can get what you need at Expand the Box Score. And I don't mean that you're not actually a psychopath. I just think that is a crazy thing to play, is Dynasty fantasy football, because I could not, or Dynasty fantasy baseball, sorry, because I could not do that. But I digress. So, I mean, with Expand the Box Score, you get all of that, and it's at a really good price. And if you want to go there and you can get a little bit off with our promo code, let them know we sent you by putting in True North 10 as the promo code, and we can get a little bit off the top for you to start crunching them numbers. We like to drop stats a lot on the True North pod. We get a lot of our data from Expand the Box Score, and we've really appreciated the partnership that we have with them. Andy Singleton runs the show over there, and he's a great dude, and I got the chance to draft with him, and that was really fun. So, like I said, expandtheboxscore.com. True North 10 is the promo code. Get a little bit of cash money off that, and enjoy those stats, man. So that's our sponsor, and we really appreciate them. But really quick, fellas, I actually want to kind of flip the script a little bit here and maybe pay some bills for you guys. So, Mike, I want you to talk about how people can get a load of the Dynasty Rewind merch. I got my Dynasty Rewind shirt on right now.
Ooh, baby.
You guys recently came out with hoodies, Mike. So why don't you tell them where to get it?
Well, first of all, I had to apologize that it took so long to get to your house. I didn't know that they sent it via horse and buggy. So I do apologize. The postal service is a little wonky down here. So yeah, you can just go over to our YouTube page. That pretty much explains everything, but I'll do a real quick synopsis. Shirts are $20. They're back there. We always have shirts available that include shipping to the continental United States. Sorry, Alaska and Hawaii. In Canada, it just costs more to ship. We do have stickers. I don't have any with me right now, but stickers are $3 a piece or 2 for $5, and hoodies $35. They're going to be on pre-sale because we can't have like $2,000 worth of merch just laying around. My wife would kill me. So $35, shipping included to the continental U.S. Again, if you're outside the U.S., UK, Canada, we'll work something out so I can make it as affordable for you as possible. Hit up my DMs. Right down there at the bottom for Twitter. My email is at mjbauer85@gmail.com. I'll get you all set up. We'll get you prepaid and get it shipped out as soon as we get them in.
I love it. That was perfect, man. And yeah, I'm rocking the shirt. It is fire. Mike was nice enough to send one up here for the wife because I mentioned that she was a big fan and that I probably would not see my shirt anymore.
The wives love to steal them, man. They really do.
It's very comfy. And as Mike says, it's very soft as well. So I'm happy that I get to have my shirt. My wife's got her own shirt now and she can back up off my stuff.
And now we just got to get her in a league. Against you.
Exactly. Babe, if you're listening, if you're listening, babe, these guys will help you out. So and I'll go easy on you, sweetie.
Well, why don't we do like a little head-to-head DFS thing? Do you play DFS at all? Not really.
I've been looking to get into it, but we'll definitely explore something because I'd love to get my wife involved in it. I think she would have fun. When she gets competitive, she gets really fired up. So if she could just get over that hump, I think she would really like it. So my
wife actually does DFS with me every week on FanDuel.
Nice. That's sick. I love that part, man.
That's awesome.
And so one last thing before we get into that segment, guys, we're going to talk about some rookie situations across the NFL. But since we're talking apparel, I want to talk about True North's new partnership with Viridian Global. So this is, a company that's been near and dear to us, as Will is actually one of the founding fathers of Viridian Global. And we've got a new shop coming. We've got some really cool designs coming up to the shop. So the one we've got right now isn't that bad, but we've paired with Viridian, and it's a mix of Will with a marketing background and our buddy Mark, that's at Master June 70, who is a graphic designer, as well as our own design team. That's Dan Made Graphics, as you can see there. So we got a lot down the pipes. We got some exclusive designs. We've got some limited time offers. We got some really good stuff going on. So Will, why don't you talk a little bit about the Viridian True North mashup that we got going on there?
Yeah, it's one of those things that just made a lot of sense, right? We're a Canadian-based company, two crazy Canadian kids that grew up small town, and Mark and I linked and started kicking it, doing a lot of drafts together, talking a lot, and he's a super talented graphic designer. And I'm a sales marketing guy, right? So we just kind of paired, started off on the graphic design and saw that, hey, there's a big opportunity for apparel in this business, and the partnership with True North makes sense. I'm obviously a part of the team. I've always loved what Trav is doing. I love the brand, so it just made sense there. Really, what we're all about, guys, is high quality, affordable wares that you can rock with really kick-ass designs. So we're going to be kicking off very shortly. I've kind of penciled in a Sep 1 kind of launch date for the new website. I've been, Trav always jokes to me that I don't sleep. I really actually don't sleep. Like if you guys shoot me a DM at 1 o'clock in the morning or six at night, or anytime in between, I'm probably up, so feel free to do that. But we're working really hard. Mark's really working hard on some really awesome designs, and we're going to get launched with the new site September 1st. The True North shop, really it's just about Trav flipping the switch so you can get some, these hoodies are super comfortable. Their t-shirts. We're going to have some exclusive baseball shirts as well that really look slick. And yeah, guys, it's coming to you. It's all printed right here in North America, so that's super cool. Really affordable shipping as well, so it makes sense to get your True North gear and then check out some of the cool Viridian designs that we have as well. Throw that in the cart. And, I'm rocking one of our tees right now. Actually, it's the
Mapletron.
Oh,
the Mapletron.
The Mapletron, which I know that there's been some requests from the Dynasty Rewind boys for. So that's trust me, boys, it's still in the lineup. But yeah, you can check us out on Viridian Global, and we're gonna have that full lineup. Don't go there right now; you'll be sadly disappointed with my first attempt at an e-commerce site. The new site will be relaunched the 1st of September, but you can go to True North and start grabbing up gear probably by the end of the week. I don't want to put any pressure on Trav, but
no pressure, Trav.
You'll be able to.
They might be able to do that by the time they listen to this podcast episode, Will.
Oh.
So, I'm fired up.
I'm going to melt a credit card on that website when it goes live. I can't wait. Seriously. I don't care what my wife says. It's happening.
Nice. Hey, and just tell her how much my wife will appreciate that with a little bit of cash flow coming in, right? So wives can band together, right?
They will.
Sure. And yeah, so we're super excited about the partnership, and Trav and True North is going to grow with Viridian. Viridian is going to grow with True North. So we're super excited. We're going to be dropping some exclusive stuff right off the hop. We've got some really cool designs coming down the pipeline from Dan Made Graphics. This guy's super talented. That's going to be exclusive to Viridian and True North. So keep your eyes peeled. This merch is going to be coming at you fast and furious real soon. So keep tuned.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate all the work you put in for that, Will. You've done a lot of behind the scenes stuff to help us get that ready. And I'm just stoked to be partnered up with a company and some people who I believe in and who I trust. So I appreciate that. All right. So guys, the bills are paid now. Let's get into this last section. I know we're at the hour and 4-minute mark, which is a little bit longer than I anticipated, but I'm good. I'm having fun. I think that just shows that this is a great group to get together, and we're enjoying hanging out with each other and talking fantasy football. So you guys ready to to rock it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the first guy on the list is someone who is near and dear to a few of the hearts in this conversation, and I'm not going to repeat the word. I'm not going to repeat the word that I had in the show sheet, but this is Jalen effing Reagor, baby. Porkman, we're going to go to you, buddy. I know where your allegiances lie as far as fandom, so why don't you hit me with what you think Jalen Reagor's outlook is in Philadelphia?
For years, we've been looking for a number one receiver. And for 2020, when we had this draft class, it was a whole bunch of guys we can go with. Jalen Reagor was one of the guys I was hoping we would get. We need somebody that's got some type of moxie with them. Not no soft Nelson Aguilar, baby hands, scared to catch the ball type crap. Give this guy the rock. Yeah, brick hands.
Yeah.
Porkman, who are you talking about? I can only imagine who you're talking about there.
Oh, I think you know what I'm talking about.
I know. I'm
No, but in all seriousness, Jalen Reagor, in TCU, it was just him.
Mm-hmm.
He was catching literally everything. And my comp to him was Steve Smith, and I've been hearing a whole bunch of other people saying Steve Smith as well. For as short as he is, he also has a great vert. Great vert, strong hands, and just awesome. And I mean, if our number 2 is JJ Arcega-Whiteside, and we're just going to be throwing to Ertz and Goddard, I think he's primed to have a great season this year. Not even for not just looking for the future. 2020 is his year for sure.
No, I like that because a lot of people are questioning the rookie wide receivers, especially because of the lack of offseason that they're going to have. But I mean, it's getting to a point where these guys are becoming a value, right? It's like when the hate goes a little bit too far, there's certain guys where that's happening. Like to me, I got Jalen Reagor at the back of the 9th round in a redraft league this year. And that's money for me. And I stacked him with Carson Wentz in the 10th, actually, which was even more beautiful. So I think I'm just loving that, right? Like somebody's got to command some targets for a wide receiver. That tight end target share has got to come down. I think it's to the detriment of Dallas Goedert myself, but I think he can still stay afloat with that red zone prowess that he's got. So for me, it's Jalen Reagor. He's going to be the only consistent option there. I think they drafted him in the 1st round to be that. Like you said, Porkman, he's versatile. Down the field, he gets open. Slants he can take to the house. He can go up and jump for it. He can return kicks. He's just got it all, man. He's going to be electric, and I'm super stoked to see it because that wide receiver room is starved for it. So, and Mike, I'm gonna
no, one more thing. Don't be scared when they were saying they're putting him in all different positions because they did that with Whiteside last year. I just don't think Whiteside was ready for that.
And he's not
Jalen Reagor is.
He's just a bigger guy.
He was a jump ball guy. If you looked at tape on Arcega-Whiteside last year, all he did was just run to the end zone and turn around because he was taller than everybody else.
Yeah,
definitely. In my opinion. Sorry, Garrett.
Definitely. I just don't think J-Jaw is one of those kind of move around the formation type guys. You just post him up and let him moss guys in the end zone. But Reagor can be that versatile guy. So Mike, I'm going to come to you, and then I'm going to kick to the next player that we're going to talk about. Just kind of showing some love to my Birds fans here. Maybe a little bit of homerness. But what do you think about Jalen Reagor? Like, do you think he can produce well in 2020, or do you think we're going to have to wait a little bit?
I think he can, and it's out of necessity. I also want to point out Toronto FF8, Reagor rookie wide receiver number 1 with 2 question marks, Philly homers unite. There's a comment right there. So here's the thing. He's basically being gift wrapped the wide receiver 1 option in this offense because it's not Arcega-Whiteside. He does not project to be a wide receiver 1, period. That's just not his game. He's going to be a solid NFL wideout number 2. Alshon Jeffrey might not ever put on an Eagles uniform again.
He's bubble wrapped.
He's bubble wrapped. Deshaun Jackson is there. His skill set is a little bit different than Reagor. Reagor's a little bit more complete. Jalen Reagor in college last year saw catchable passes on 61.4% of his targets. Out of applicable wide receivers, he ranked 118th out of 120th. So towards the bottom of the barrel there, and the quarterback play was terrible. You know what I mean?
So bad.
He could take the top off of a defense. That being said, another guy that I know both Porkman and I like, if you want to deep dive on the Eagles and you got bench space,
Say it.
Quez Watkins
Nice.
is I love Quez Watkins, and find the film of him somewhere where he just absolutely leaves Rasul Douglas in the dust. We're talking 10 to 15 yards on the guys. So,
It was bad.
I mean, yeah.
It is
so
Russell Douglas still.
yeah, but Rasul Douglas is not a speed cornerback either, man.
No,
He's not.
no.
No, he's not. So
He's lanky. That's funny
Yeah.
that you said that, because I totally thought you were going to say John Hightower, because John Hightower is actually a sleeper wide receiver of mine.
I like
but
Quez better.
I like him
personally.
and Quez. I think Hightower might be a little bit more versatile, where Quez can legitimately just slot right into that Deshaun Jackson role.
And
So I think it's
Toronto
gonna be-
FF8. I love Greg Ward. Greg
Oh,
Ward
yeah.
is my boy. You
we
know,
love
Yes,
G-Dub.
sir.
We
yeah,
love G-Dub.
he's awesome. I love Greg Ward. Great dude too, from what I hear.
Yeah.
in the
I
community.
hope he gets that slot role, man. I'd love to see it. It's a good story, right?
He's the front runner right now for the
Mhm.
starting slot wide receiver. So Greg Ward is free practically. You could put a $0 bid of Fab
He
and
is
you can
free.
get Greg Ward.
Mm-hmm. You might even be able to toss a negative bid in there and get him.
But
I was
they,
just
they
thinking
pay you for taking Greg Ward off the waiver wire.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally. No, that's not an indictment on his talent. That's just me kind of highlighting how cheap that he is right now.
Sure.
So we're going to move on from the homerness, because 60% of this pod are Eagles fans. So we want to try and make sure we stay true with the analysis here. So Chev, we're going to come to you to kick it off with DeAndre Swift. Why don't you let us know what you think about him? Because Carry On's still there, but he's got that bionic knee brace or whatever he can't get rid of. What do you think about DeAndre Swift's outlook? Do you think he's going to kind of reach that ceiling that we kind of expected coming out of Georgia?
Yeah, so I actually had him as my running back 3 coming out. But, I mean, everybody had him high for like 2 seasons before that. So, I mean, and then he gets drafted by Detroit, and it's just like his value just goes way down. So, I mean, this is a guy that could possibly win you leagues this year where you're drafting him at. So, I mean, I love what he's doing. I mean, if you got Kerryon Johnson shaking in his boots, talking about how he can't bend like you, can't do what you can do, that makes me feel pretty good about Swift. I don't know why he would say that. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen, with the guy basically just bowing down and saying, "Hey, take my spot, please, so I can not bend like you." Yeah, but it's just like, dude, you're 2 years in. You're probably gonna get the touches before him, but you just, I mean, he's being honest. I agree, but I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would do that.
Time and a place for that kind of honesty, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not there.
Self-deprecating honesty when you're trying to carve out a role in that backfield might not be the best call, or when you want another team to believe in you to come in and be their running back, it might not be the best call. But
I can't bend that well, but come get me, boys.
Yeah, totally. I'm going to be a pylon just moving in a straight line, but I swear I'm good.
And I'm going to be on IR most of the season. Yeah. Don't worry, I got this.
Which sucks, because I really like Kerryon. I liked him coming out, and I was hopeful for him last year. Probably overdrafted the shit out of him last year, so that's kind of why.
Same.
But here I am, right? Here I am. Big Willie, you were talking about the trade that you got offered earlier, Swift and a 4th for J.K. Dobbins. And for me, I need it to be more than a 4th, because it's pretty clear that guy is directly targeting J.K. Dobbins. So that's the guy that you got to make sure you get as much as you can out of, and a 4th doesn't do it for me. So I think you made the right call, but it sounded like you did still like Dobbins' outlook. So why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm swiftly becoming a big fan of the number 1 running back.
See what you did there.
Chev, you pointed out, man, like, it just doesn't make sense that, again, he's all of a sudden went from being the number 1 running back prospect to the class, and all of a sudden he just literally drops off a cliff by going to Detroit. Hey, we don't have to like Matt Patricia, guys and girls. We don't have to like him, but the talent is going to show through with Swift. I mean, I know everybody knocks the PFF grades, but man, he graded out like running back that we've seen, and I don't even know how long. So Swift, we've seen what he can do in terms of college production. You love his pass catching ability. We know that Stafford, we've seen what he's been able to do with like a Theo Riddick, and we were even talking before about what he was able to do with the backs that he's been able to check down to. And hey, man, I think it's time that we just cut the ties with Kerryon. He is injury prone. He, he's been productive in spats, but again, he hasn't stayed on the field. You also want a running back that wants the rock. He wants to be the guy. You don't want somebody that says, Yeah, you know what? I don't actually think I'm a running back one, and it's going to be nice to be spelled off, every few snaps. Like that's not what we want. You want a guy
Right.
like you can knock Mark Ingram for his athleticism and whatever, but that guy wants the ball. He wants to be the guy, right? And I take the guy with, it's not necessarily the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog. And I think Swift is he's motivated, man. You see what he's doing. He's putting in camp. You see what he's talking about. He wants to be the guy, and the opportunity is there. Talent will trump all. There. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Reggie Bush too, right? I was talking about Theo Riddick, but we saw what Reggie Bush did in that system, right? Like he was 11th RB overall when he was playing with Stafford, and a lot of those points were put on in the passing game. We also look at another season with Ragnow on that O line. I think that the O line is only going to continue to improve, right? Like people are discounting that O line. I mean, they've invested in it. And we see where, again, we're always quick to jump down Patricia's throat, but we see where it comes from, and we know what that Patriots style coaching invests in, right? They invest in the O-line and it makes the rest of the team better. So, Swift to me is a sleeper guy. He's another one that, hey, we gotta buy now because he's going to get opportunity faster than anybody else. That's what nobody else wants to talk about. Swift, in terms of his landing spot, will be the fastest running back from this class to get an opportunity to show what he's worth. I mean, CEH as well. I can't overlook that factor, but after CEH, who else has the opportunity that Swift does, right? So I'm pretty pumped about him, and especially where he's going. Like I'm looking, it's just like, really, you're letting him slide this far? Like you're making the shit easy, guys. Like, you're looking at some drafts where you can stack a JT and a Swift. Like that's criminal. So I'm excited. I don't like Detroit. Don't have to like Detroit. Just have to like the player.
He's this year's AJ Brown.
I like it, dude.
Good point.
Dude, and that's funny because as you were saying that, Will, I'm thinking like DeAndre Swift makes me a little bit sad for the fact that I was one of those people who hated the landing spot and was dogging him for it. I still liked Carry On, thought he was going to have some role. And now I don't have a lot of DeAndre Swift shares. And that really sucks, man, because I had him I think he was a top 3 running back for me before the draft, of course. And then he dropped a little bit with the landing spot. But that was a big mistake on my part. So that's just another reminder that sometimes for Dynasty Leagues, you just take the talent and let the situation shake itself out over the next few years, because you plan on owning these guys for a few years when you're drafting them with your first round pick. So I always like that reminder. Get your guy. If he's talented, just take him and let everything else shake out. So that's a really good call out for DeAndre Swift there. All right, fellas, we're going to keep it rolling. Just being conscious of time. I do want us all to get a chance to talk on all these rookies, but we only got a couple left, so we're going to rip through them a little bit. This one is definitely a little bit of a lower level prospect, but somebody who I was really intrigued by, and I really liked the landing spot. But Mike, you said earlier that you didn't think that Pittsburgh's starting running back is on the roster. So to me, that means that you're not very high on Anthony McFarland Jr. out of Maryland. So let me know what you think about him and his outlook in that historically 3-down back system, right? So they have one guy who takes all 3 downs historically. It seems like you maybe don't think Anthony McFarland can do that.
No, not a 3-down back. Although he, for going to Maryland, and I hate to do this to you guys, I'm not doing this as a jab against Ohio State, but that game, him against Ohio State, I mean, we're talking the Ohio State defense projects almost as a borderline NFL caliber defense. And what he did was just absolutely insane on a team where he's really the only guy that's doing anything, much like Jalen Reagor at TCU. He's the guy, that's it. But I think he's more, and Will, maybe you could allude to this, I think he's more of a security blanket for James Conner than he is kind of like a long-term thing. 4th round draft pick, if memory serves me correct. But they also drafted Benny Snell last year in the 4th round, and he doesn't look like he's going to be anything. Yeah, Jalen Samuel doesn't look like he's going to be anything. So I still think if they have a chance next year, they're going to grab a stud.
Yeah. I'll jump in. I think that it's interesting. Benny, like the hype that Benny Snell's getting right now is just unbelievable. He's not going to be the guy. If James Conner goes down, it's going to be AMAC. It's going to be the AMAC attack. There's no way that it's going to be Snell. They're not going to leave it in his hands. They're going to let McFarland get a shot at it before Snell touches that rock. Like, there's no doubt about it. I hope James Conner's healthy. He's going to be productive if he is healthy. What's really interesting, and Mike, you alluded to this, is that they passed up on some serious talent. They passed up on some really serious talent. And we saw a divisional rival get a running back that could have been on Pittsburgh. So that tells me a lot of things. It tells me that they knew that McFarland would be available, that he could fit into that offense. It wouldn't cost them the draft capital. It's super interesting with everybody on the board that they doubled down on what is probably their greatest strength offensively, which is their wide receiver core, by taking Claypool instead of a high pedigreed running back. And, I think that Anthony McFarland will get a shot when, unfortunately, James Conner eventually gets injured. Long-term wise, I'm not sure what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the Steelers, they're not a team that invests heavy draft capital in running backs, period. Right? Like, they fit guys into their system and they make it work. So that's kind of the outlook. I'm super high on Anthony McFarland. I think it's one of those situations that you sit back and you watch unfold, and it's really going to be determined by an injury to James Conner. So I've got him on a lot of squads, more because of the talent and that and that ADP that he's going at, and just that kind of after Connor, I mean, it is very ambiguous there of what's going to happen. I think the Jalen Samuels dream has sailed away. Things are bad when they say, well, you know what? If he becomes a Patriot, though, he's going to be good.
Say that about everybody.
Yeah, right. We said that about Jeremy Hill too, right? So that's super indicative to me that Samuels is done. Still love the talent. Snell's not the guy. Like, the hype right now that's going on around him, I just don't get it. There's analysts that last year were like, oh, I can't believe Benny Snell's such a snail. And now all of a sudden, because he's, shed some weight, that he's now a transcendent running back and is going to be, a relevant fantasy piece. I don't buy it. AMAC, like it. I think that, he's going to have some blow up games if given an opportunity, but I don't know long-term if he's the guy or not.
Hey, there's our guy Dingus. He's
there we go.
Hey,
Matt
Dingus is
awesome. Matt knows what's up.
From the Dynasty Vipers. Check out their work. Matt does a lot of great work for the Vipers, and big fan of Matt's work. And he's going to be coming on the show at some point very soon as well. So we appreciate that, and I think most of us kind of agree with that, Matt. So Benny Snell just kind of smells. So that's where we sit on him. So actually, I got Joey Pa here asking us a question, fellas. We got a question. So what's the percentage split? 60-20-20. So I guess that would be 60 for James Conner, 20 for McFarland, 20 for Snell, or 60-30-10 where McFarland gets the 30 and Snell gets the 10. I think for me,
more likely.
I think Conner gets more like 80.
It's 30 for
80.
I think Connor's up at that 80% snap share when healthy, guys. Like, he's going to get the workload. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it.
No doubt about it. That was a little bit Scottish. Sorry, fellas. I'm Scottish too.
Loved it.
I think, Joey, to answer your question, I think we all probably lean towards McFarland being the heavier volume as the backup. But I think still we think that James Conner is going to take the lion's share, probably more than that 60%. So I believe that's probably a text version of some sort of Canadian accent. So we appreciate the love, Joey. We appreciate that. Yeah, we spell it EH up here. So we don't expect you to know that. Don't worry. But we spell it EH. That's A. So, and then lastly, as far as the comments on here, so apologies to any of our just audio listeners. This is kind of video related stuff because we have people in the comments, but Dingus, you got to stop it, man. Your content is great. You got a great podcast, and I've seen some of your written stuff, and it's good work. I drafted with you too, man. So I know you're a Shark fantasy player. So there we have it.
That was his last article too. Was that draft? So I mean, I love
Yeah.
it. Talking about auction. I mean, it was saucy.
Fun. So much fun, man. I had a blast doing that. It might be one of the most fun drafts that I've ever done in my entire life, was an auction draft. And that was the Kings Classic, which it was an honor to draft in that league. That's a really prestigious invite that Bob Lung sent my way. So that's much appreciated by him. Okay, fellas, we're getting up to the old $1.50 mark for the pod length here. So we're gonna go on to the next guy. This one's maybe a little bit more sexy. We're gonna talk about CD Lamb, my wide receiver 1 coming in, goes into the wide receiver core that has Amari Cooper. They had the Michael Gallup breakout. We, of course, had the Dak breakout, and we kind of hope that he's going to be staying on that level. So, I mean, to me, this is a good landing spot for CD. But, Porkman, we're going around the whole horn on this one to finish it off. So, what do you think about CD's outlook? Do you think he carves much out this year?
I'm not really sure. I think I'm looking more towards next year, just to make it short. Amari Cooper, I think they're going to probably get out of that contract pretty early, because I think it's out after this year. So if they can get out of that Amari Cooper contract and have CD and Gallup and whatever jag they put in that slot with Blake Jarwin, I think it would be pretty good.
I like that. I'm not so much on the Jarwin hype train, and I know our homegirl Linda, if she's watching this, she wouldn't like that, because she is the conductor. She is strapped to the front of that train, and she's having a blast riding on the front of the Blake Jarwin train. So hey, I got mad respect for her for sticking to her guns on that, and with the tight end position, you just really never know. Mike, where are you sitting? I know it's somewhat blasphemous to talk positive about Cowboys players for us there, fellas. But where do you sit on CD? You can't doubt the talent, right?
No, he's my pre-draft wide receiver 1. He still is. As much as I hate to say it, I do love a couple Cowboys. Him, Michael Gallup, and Blake Jarwin, I'm on that train too, because I think he could definitely get it done. That being said, you guys were talking about Jalen Reagor before. The Eagles did try to trade up and get CD Lamb at 16. The Falcons stayed put and drafted a cornerback that had a second-round grade. So, just interesting thing there. But
that was rough, dude. That was rough. Really, I was yelling. I was mad at the TV. The Cowboys came up, and once it was kind of clear that they were going to see, I was devastated. But then the Reagor pick came, and he was the best consolation prize out of any of those wide receivers. So I was super happy for that. But yeah,
I do love CD Lamb though. Don't just because Michael Gallup and Amari Cooper are there, don't not draft him in Dynasty because of that. He's going to be a stud.
You look at Randall Cobb last year. He had the most quiet 800+ yards in the NFL. Randall Cobb. And CD is going to play out of the slot. Dak has already shown that he likes to throw to the slot. And if CD is there, I think he's going to show out in year 1. I'm not talking wide receiver 1 status or anything like that. But, I could see him being kind of a fringe wide receiver 2-3 in that 24 to 28 range finish. Because if he can get, 55 catches for 850 yards, and then who knows what he can do in the end zone, because he's great at jump balls as well. Great at contested catches in the back of the end zone. So I think he could have a red zone role. So I'm loving CD. Chev, where are you sitting? Are you kind of in that he's going to produce this year and moving forward, or we're going to have to potentially wait a year until they can shed the Amari Cooper dead weight?
I think we might have to wait a year to see what his full potential looks like. But he is a dog, man. This guy loves to play. He wants to be out on that field. So I know he's going to be giving it his all to get those that third down wide receiver and just dominate the field. I mean, he's a yak specialist too. I mean, he gets the ball, and he broke 5 tackles against one team last year. So, I mean, he's just a guy that loves to play. He loves to compete. I mean, he's got some sick catches like DeAndre Hopkins too, those one-handed catches that are just incredible. He's a guy that can go up and get it. And just watching him at OU, you could just tell that guy's different. He is playing at a different level than these guys, and you can just see it. So he's definitely somebody Dallas got to steal. I don't know how he fell that far, and it's sad that Philly didn't get him, but Dallas will be looking nice.
That was payback for the Dallas Goedert pick for sure.
Oh boy, yeah,
absolutely.
Sure.
Will, where are you sitting on CD Goat?
Oh, me?
Yeah,
this old guy. Hey man, baller's gonna ball. That's all I can say. I think that 3 wide receiver set. I'm sorry for you Philly fans, but man, especially with your corners, but that's going to be a thing to watch twice a year. That's for sure. And I'm super excited. I think that again, I mean, that talent will trump all. And I don't think the situation's as bad as what people think it is. I mean, how many vacated targets between old man Witten, who's now
190.
190 vacated targets. And I'm not on the Jarwin hype train at all. I think that CD, he's going to eat those targets up, and he's going to ball out. I also wanted to rewind a minute from not being an Eagles fan for being across Pennsylvania on the other side of the state. Is I think that, you know what, you might not have got CD, but I think you got the right guy in Rager for the Eagles. He's the guy you need.
Oh,
and
for sure.
I think that he's I didn't weigh in before, but he's a perfect guy and he's exactly what Philly needs. So I like both those guys, and yeah, I think people are a bit sleeping on CD. I think that they're way too caught up in this, who's gonna get the ball. Don't worry about it. He's gonna get those targets. He's gonna get the targets over Jarwin. I can guarantee you that.
Oh yeah. And Dak threw for 5K last year too, so I mean, are pretty close to it. So I mean, be ready. They could possibly go 3 1K wide receivers. I know it's highly unlikely, but it's a possibility for sure.
If any team's going to do it in the NFL, I think it's them. I think the main roadblock in that is that their defense is vastly improved as well. So they may be a little bit tighter in games, and they may grind it out with Zeke. But I think their passing volume is going to be safe with Kellen Moore coming back as the OC. Mike McCarthy just adds a new wrinkle as what's supposed to be an offensive head coach. So as long as he kind of lets Kellen Moore run with that and just sprinkles his little bits in here and there, I think they're going to be good. If McCarthy tries to take over, then that might be a little bit sketchy, but I still think CD is going to be safe, especially because we're looking at this from a dynasty lens. I think we're all kind of in the same boat on CD. There is potential for him to produce some this year, but the real flourish, or when he's going to break out, is going to be next season and beyond. So that's cash money, fellas. I think it was kind of a great player for us to end on because the situation is a little bit ambiguous, but the talent is fantastic. And these are kind of those dynasty assets where you don't want to overthink it, right? You want to just smash them, get them on your teams, and you're going to reap the rewards in a couple of years from spending that, like 105, 106 in your rookie draft. So I think that's easy money to take CD there. So that's it, fellas. That's all we got for this episode. I really, really appreciate you guys kind of coming in and hanging out. So Phil, I'm going to flip to you. Tell the people where to find you, brother.
You can find me at FF Porkman on Twitter, also on Instagram as well.
I love that. I love it. I haven't really dove into the Instagram too much myself, but I hear that there is some pretty decent stuff going on for fantasy over there. So definitely,
there's some good stuff, but there's some bad ones. But
for sure. But if you're on there, go and follow Porkman on Instagram. Basically, is what we're saying. Chev, where can they find you, brother?
Yeah, you can find me at ChevBoyRD, boy with an I, and also we just got 1K followers, so we do have a contest going on my Twitter. So I'm going to be giving away a free hoodie and a free T-shirt on our next podcast on Friday. So if you want in, go check out the contest, and you could be getting some free swag. You're heading your way.
That's money. And Chev, real quick, just because I feel like you were being a little humble there. You recently dropped an article. Where can the people find that as well for your written content?
Yeah, so I'm riding with old Dingus at Dynasty Vipers, man. I'm a little pinch of Canadian a little bit, so I'm kind of happy to have that. So I'm excited.
I love it. Look at that. Dingus says that's going to be his rewind swag.
He's in for it. He's ready.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Mike, the host with the most. It was a pleasure to have you on. I hope you enjoyed not having to do hosting duties tonight.
Fantastic.
I hope you had a good time. Where can the people find you?
Find me at the MBauer85, but like I always say on our show, prefer if you follow the show at Dynasty Rewind. And if I may do a shameless plug, come check out our YouTube on September 1st. The Will Harris is going to be hanging out with us. It's going to be a fantastic time, like always. Trav, I hope to see you in the comments, man.
Oh, dude, I'm in the comments of your show every single Friday, so know I'm going to
Todd Pinkston. You were in there last week.
2020 wide receiver 1.
Bloody Miles Sanders.
Yeah, Miles Bloody Sanders, baby. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Always fun, man. Like, even when I'm not actually like chopping it up with you guys like this, it's fun to jump in on the show and chop it up because you guys are super interactive. You guys got a ton of personality on the pod. You guys are very well. You guys are very well liked, right? So you guys are, you guys are in with a bunch of different circles. So to see all the people who come in and chime in on the comments, and I've had conversations with other people in the comments that wasn't even to do with your guys' show necessarily. So it's just you guys create a little community with the Rewind.
We see it. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, is that distracting or what? Is that a little bit of a distraction for you guys? Sorry.
So sometimes, and you guys can't see it. You could, if you're the host, you could look at comments or banners, and that's how Trav puts up banners down at the bottom of the screen to say, subscribe, rate, and review. Exactly like that. And thank you for that. Sometimes I'll just flip over to the banners page so I can't see the comments because I lose track. Honestly, I get lost in it.
Totally. I did it a couple times tonight, I'll be honest.
It happens.
Totally.
Yeah, Chef Dad's always in there trying to
wait.
Trying to be my
dad. Workman's dad.
Chev, that's not my dad.
You stole my dad. It's messed up.
Chef's dad tried to buy me an oven that cooks bacon perfect.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
I love that guy.
As a dad, I can say like we take people under our wings, so I can totally see why Pops would want to kind of look out for the friend of his kid, Pork Man. And you are a lovable dude, my man. So I'd probably be in the same boat as Pops.
I appreciate that.
All right, Will, why don't you let the people know where to find you, and then drop the CNBBCL and the Viridian handles again for me as well, too, okay, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me at It's Harris Time. Coming up for True North, we got some really exciting stuff rocking out for regular season. I'm going to be rocking the Jet Sweep show every Sunday night, kind of recapping the games, looking forward to some key waiver pickups for the week that I'll be rocking out with Josh Smokey Nelson. Super excited to be co-hosting the Jet Sweep with him every Sunday night, coming at you live, and then you'll be able to pick that up as a podcast during the week. And then every Wednesday, it just dropped today, that I will be doing a weekly waiver piece called Good Will Hunting, and Will is for weekly insights to lead your league for those that care to know, and that'll be dropping every Tuesday morning on TrueNorthFFB.com. So we'll be having that every Tuesday morning. Jet Sweep on Sunday nights, recapping the game. And yeah, you can give me a follow anytime at It's Harris Time. If you guys are interested in the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League, that's at CNBBCL. And then Viridian Global. Keep your eyes peeled, guys. We're going to be dropping that merch like it's hot real soon. And that one's super simple too, www.viridianglobal.com. And then you can give us a follow on Insta or on Twitter, and it's just at Viridian Global. So great jamming out with the Rewind crew. Super excited to talk tight end sleepers real soon here. And again, tune in. We're going to have some really big news to share about the Canadian National Best Ball Champions League. So thanks so much for being the hostess with the mostest, Trav. Thank you, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Real quick, just because I told her that I would, my wife jumped in to say good job. Love you.
Yeah, there we go.
I love you too, babe. I love you too. So thanks for the support, sweetie. Oh, man, that's funny. Yeah, thanks for giving the boys a laugh, babe. That's great. Yeah. Yeah.
I do want to say one thing.
Yeah, go hit it.
I really appreciate you guys. You guys are always awesome. You guys are really good follows, and you guys are always two positive people that I know on Twitter are going to shed positivity and shed people's articles. And I mean, that's what it's all about. That's what the community that I've come to love has been. So thank you guys for having us on and just being those positive guys that you guys are in the community. I really appreciate that.
For sure.
Thanks.
Yeah, because me and Bill was literally talking back and forth during Scott Fishbowl the whole time. That's my freaking guy.
That's beautiful, man. Like that's what I was saying. I believe it was in our group chat earlier, but I kind of say this often, that it's really cool how the fantasy football community can allow so many different people from different walks of life, different places around the world can kind of come together. And like, I honestly consider you guys legitimate real life friends. I'd talk to you about whatever. Mike, we're always in each other's DMs chatting, and you boys we're chatting quite a bit too. So it's fun. And I was telling Will earlier, babe, earmuffs, but Will and I probably talk more than I talk to my wife at times. So it's all family, man. And I'm a firm believer that good people gravitate to good people. So if we are good people, as you guys say, then you guys are just the same. So we appreciate your friendship and we appreciate you guys joining the pod. So without further ado, Will mentioned the site TrueNorthFFB.com, at TrueNorthFFB on Twitter, TNFF Network on YouTube. Check it all out. Give us a subscribe. Show us some support. We love the support so far. And this is just the start for True North. So thanks again for being here. Talk to you soon. Peace.